A colossal beatdown of the Cardinals. And I ask you guys, like, subscribe, thumbs up. We talk about the Cardinals every day on the channel because they're the Cubs' arch rival. But watching them get just pounded by the Cubs on Sunday Night Baseball at Wrigley Field was delicious. It was enjoyable, and it also was fantastic. But we got word before the game that Seiya Suzuki had been snubbed for the All-Star team. We're going to talk about that, and also some players that could be available to the Cubs during the trade deadline. Maybe now, maybe later, but we're going to get into that as well. But like, subscribe, thumbs up. Thank you guys for being here. Let's get this show started. Great to talk Cubs baseball on a daily basis, and I appreciate all of you guys as we try to get 10,000 subscribers on the channel. Let's go. Well, it was early and often, and it was one of the great games of the season, maybe my favorite game of the season, watching the Cubs just dismantle the Cardinals 11-0 in front of a national audience on Sunday Night Baseball, and kind of give you that idea of what makes this Cubs team so special. If they get rolling with this offense, they are hard to stop, and that's exactly what the Cardinals found out in a Cubs series victory. What I want to talk about first, though, is this pitching staff. We saw Jordan Wicks, and Wicks looked like a guy that could contribute as a starter on this team. But there's been a lot of basically talk now. It's been going on for a while of the Cubs trying to find some help in the starting rotation. And that was before Jameson Taillon went down with an injury, right? Our friend Patrick Mooney from The Athletic basically says that the Cubs are planning to inquire about virtually every major league pitcher who might get traded this month. And I love that because there's a sense of urgency with this front office because they don't have a contract extension. And they're fighting for their lives right now, in baseball anyway, in these current positions, and I think they're doing a pretty good job. I think they're going out there and they're putting in the due diligence. Because if it ends, who knows? Jed Hoyer might never be a team president again. Who knows what Carter Hawkins's title's going to be next stop. But they have this opportunity, and they are fighting their butts off right now, and it's respectable as they try to get some pitching. Now, a couple of things I wanted to talk about kind of along those same lines. A lot of experts keep saying, hey, the Cubs need to work out a deal for Sandy Alcantara of the Marlins. I just don't think, and David Schoenfield of ESPN is kind of the latest guy to talk about this, I just don't think that if it was me, I'd feel real comfortable with Alcantara. He's coming back from Tommy John surgery. And so far this year, he's been not good. He's been pretty bad. Maybe one of the worst starters in baseball. 4-8 record, 7.01 ERA, 17 starts. The guy's allowed 89 hits and 67 earned runs, which is the most in baseball in 86 innings. He's also given up 11 home runs, 35 walks, and 67 strikeouts. He does not look like the Cy Young Award winner from 2022. That was when he was 14-9 and had a 2.28 ERA and 32 starts. He's far from that. And we thought maybe he was turning a corner. It looked like things were turning around for him. He was putting together some decent starts, but the last two starts have been terrible. June 28th at Arizona, 6 innings, 10 hits, 7 runs, and a loss. Well, actually, the team won in extra innings 8-7, but not a good game for him. Then the last time out, he was pitching against Milwaukee in Miami, 6 innings, 5 hits, earned, 5 runs earned, and a walk and 4 strikeouts. Team lost 6-5. And again, he just wasn't good enough. And if you're the Cubs and you're going to go out and you're going to trade your capital, he just doesn't feel like the guy that you're feeling very comfortable with. Now, I think eventually he is going to be okay. I think eventually he's going to be good. back to good again. I mean, most guys that have Tommy John surgery get there, but how long is it going to take? And that's the question that you have to ask yourself if you're the Cubs. How long is it going to take for it to get there? And can he help this team this year? And is he worth the price that they're going to ask you to pay for him? Those are the questions that you have to ask. And to me, I don't think the answer's exactly what you want it to be, right? Now, another name that's popped up is Willi Castro of the Twins as being part of a bench upgrade for the Cubs. Brujan, Birdie, and Turner don't feel like a great bench. And if you go out, maybe you trade for a third baseman, then you put Shaw on the bench, and then your bench gets better, right? But with that said, we'll see what happens. We've talked about a trade for the third baseman spot, being a possibility. Shaw, to me, has been serviceable. Defensively, I think he's been good. And the bat, he had the walk-off hit. He's had a couple walk-off hits. Like, the guy's got a lot of talent. And it's just a matter of seeing where that leads. And if you're willing to be patient with him this year, kind of knowing what's on the line. But all of that said, Willi Castro is a name that's kind of been bandied around. And he's a guy that can play the outfield. He can play the infield. He can play center, which you love. And he can hit. He's not one of these guys that you put in the lineup and you feel like, well, he's an automatic out. And I feel like with Brujan and Birdie, it's close to that. But so far this season, not bad numbers. 273 average, 363 on base percentage, 7 home runs, 20 knocked in, can steal a little bit. And like I said, he's a former All-Star and got consideration for Rookie of the Year in 2020. He's a really good utility guy. And there's a chance that the Twins, as they kind of fade out this postseason, as far as postseason aspirations go, part of it because of injuries, that he'd be a guy that they'd be willing to part with. Would the Cubs be willing to make a deal to get him? That's the question. So we'll find out. But I like the direction that things are looking right now for this team. I mean, when you beat up on the Cardinals like that, Cubs really could have swept the series. They had one bad inning out of the bullpen on Saturday, and they came back Sunday and just put a barrage on St. Louis, and it could have been worse. 11 runs, and it could have been worse. Now, the All-Star voting is over, right? Now we know who the All-Stars are. Matthew Boyd was added to the team, healthy. He's been an ace for the staff. He's been a godsend for the Cubs through this first half. Amazing, right? Him, Pete Crow Armstrong, Kyle Tucker, all starters. Seiya Suzuki was snubbed in this All-Star voting. I thought he should have made the team. Our old buddy Kyle Schwarber got there. He's good too, and nobody's going to replace Shohei Ohtani. He's the best player in the game. If something happens, though, and there's an injury, I wouldn't be surprised if Seiya Suzuki isn't added to the All-Star roster. And he's a guy that leads the league and runs batted in. He's been such a big part of this team, and I think he belongs on that All-Star team. Just kind of a tough position. The other guy that, I don't think he got snubbed, but it's worth talking about is Michael Busch. And the fact that Busch has kind of put himself in position where we're talking about him in the All-Star capacity is pretty impressive, right? He's actually put up better numbers, in my opinion, than Freddie Freeman, who he was competing with in L.A. with the Dodgers, right? But Pete Alonso and Matt Olson, are major names in that first base position. I think Busch is a year away from being one of the top first basemen in baseball, and I think that's that's pretty good. I mean, considering he couldn't get to the first base job in LA because of Freddie Freeman, and when you put their numbers side by side, he's right there. So anyway, all right. Well, look, that's where we are right now. basically talked about this at the beginning of the show, that the Cubs are out there trying to add pitching. If something happens, we're going to jump on here live and talk about it when something happens. They may be patient and wait to the trade deadline, but they're running out of time. I mean, and they want to add a starter, and they want to do it as quick as possible, because we know that there's some holes there in that rotation with, obviously Justin Steele out and Jamison Tyone injured. But every time you turn around, it just feels like somebody else is ready to jump up and be a contributor, and I think that makes this team special. So first place Cubs, back at it again Tuesday in Minnesota, Shota Imanaga, and then that'll lead us right into the All-Star game, right, which is pretty cool. So we're kind of there. It was fun beating up on the Cardinals, a weird matchup with the Minnesota Twins, and then the Yankees coming in, or actually going there, which is even better, and then the All-Star break. So Cubs and Yankees, I mean, think about how expensive those tickets are going to be. So we're cruising towards the All-Star break. Cubs in first place. We'll talk to you guys again tomorrow. Thanks for being here. Like, subscribe, thumbs up. Please hit the bell. Share with your Cubs friends. Thank you for being a part of what we do every day. I had to get on here and give you guys a show. I had pre-recorded this, but then after that smackdown of the Cardinals, I said, I'm redoing the show. So, in the wee hours of the night, here it is. But thank you guys so much for being part of what we do every day, and go Cubs.